Once upon a time, in a gloomy castle on a lonely hill, where there were 13 clocks that wouldn't go, there lived a cold, aggressive duke and his niece, the Princess Saralinda. She was warm in every wind and weather, but he was always cold. His hands were as cold as his smile, and almost as cold as his heart. He wore gloves when he was asleep, and he wore gloves when he was awake, which made it difficult for him to pick up pins or coins or the kernels of nuts, or to tear the wings from nightingales. He was 6'4" and 46, and even colder than he thought he was. One eye wore a velvet patch, the other glittered through a monocle which made half his body seem closer to you than the other half. He had lost one eye when he was 12, for he was fond of peering into nests and lairs in search of birds and animals to maul. One afternoon, a mother shrike had mauled him first. His nights were spent in evil dreams, and his days were given to wicked schemes. Wickedly scheming, he would limp and cackle through the cold corridors of the castle, planning new, impossible feats for the suitors of Saralinda to perform. He did not wish to give her hand in marriage, since her hand was the only warm hand in the castle. Even the hands of his watch and the hands of all the 13 clocks were frozen. They had all frozen at the same time on a snowy night 7 years before, and after that it was always 10 minutes to 5 in the castle. Travelers and mariners would look up at the gloomy castle on the lonely hill and say, "Time lies frozen there. It's always then. It's never now." The cold duke was afraid of now, for now has warmth and urgency, and then is dead and buried. Now might bring a certain night of gay and shining courage. But no, the cold duke muttered, the prince will break himself against a new and awful labor, a place too high to reach, a thing too far to find, a burden too heavy to lift. The duke was afraid of now, but he tampered with the clocks to see if they would go, out of a strange perversity, praying that they wouldn't. Tinkers and tinkerers and a few wizards who happened by tried to start the clocks with tools or magic words, or by shaking them and cursing, but nothing whirred or ticked. The clocks were dead, and in the end, brooding on it, the duke decided he had murdered time, slain it with his sword, and wiped his bloody blade upon its beard, and left it lying there, its springs uncoiled and sprawling, its pendulum disintegrating. The castle and the duke grew colder, and Saralinda, as a princess will, even in a place where time lies frozen, became a little older, but only a little older. She was nearly 21 the day a prince, disguised as a minstrel, came singing to the town that lay below the castle. He called himself Xingu, which was not his name, and dangerous, since his name began with X, and still does. He was, quite properly, a thing of shreds and patches, a ragged minstrel singing for pennies and the love of singing. Xingu, as he so rashly called himself, was the son of a powerful king, but he had grown weary of rich attire and banquets and tournaments and the available princesses of his own realm, and yearned to find in a far land the maiden of his dreams, singing as he went, learning the life of the lowly, and possibly slaying a dragon here and there. At the sign of the Silver Swan, in the town below the castle, where taverners, travelers, tale-tellers, tosspots, troublemakers, and other townspeople were gathered, he heard of Saralinda, loveliest princess on all the 1,000 islands of the ocean seas.
Oh, I would sing my heart away for a chance to hold the hand of Saralinda. Well, you can turn the rain to silver. Well, she's yours.
If you can slay the thorny boar of Borythorn, she is yours. But there is no thorny boar of Borythorn. Oh, it makes it hard.
It's your uncle's golden sword. He will slit you from your gullet to your sack.
This minstrel will say the Duke's one leg is shorter than the other, not longer. It all makes a mistake. Stare too long at the Duke's gloves, or gaze too long at his knees. Or he might even say his name begins with an X. And the Duke, he'll run him through with a sword and fade up to the gates.
The Duke is 7 feet 9 inches tall and 28 years old or in his prime. His hands are cold enough to stop a clock, strong enough to choke a bull, and swift enough to catch the wind. He breaks up minstrels in his soup like crackers.
And if you survive his scorn and sword, well, you'll be told to cut a slice of the moon or turn the ocean to wine. And you'll try and fail and disappear and never come again.
Nay! Our young minstrel here will warm the old Duke's heart with song. He'll trample on his camellias and spill his wine and blunt his sword and say his name begins with X. But in the end, the old Duke will say, "Take my Saralinda's hand with my blessing, thou prince of rags and tags, thou rider of the sun."
I've seen that youth before, but he was neither ragamuffin nor minstrel. Let me see, where was it?
It is soup like crackers.
Outside the tavern, the night sky was lighted by a rocking yellow moon which held a white star in its horn. In the gloomy castle on the hill, a lantern gleamed and darkened, came and went, as if the cold Duke stalked from room to room, killing spiders and bats, stabbing mice.
Dazzle the Duke with jewels. Something in it somewhere, but what it is and where I cannot think. I wonder if the Duke will order me to cause a fall of purple snow. Or will he tell me to make a table out of sawdust? Will he just slip me from my goggle to my zatch, wherever they are? And say to Saralinda, "There lies your latest fool, a nameless minstrel. I'll have my varmints feed him to the geese." Dukes are not known to ask ragged minstrels to their tables, or set them tasks to do, or let them meet princesses. I'll think of some way. I'll think of something.
The hour was late, and the revelers began to totter home from the inns and taverns, none in rags and none in tags, and some in velvet gowns. 1/3 of the dogs in town began to bark. The minstrel took his lute from his shoulder and began to improvise a song. He had thought of something. troublemakers and Tosspot began to gather and listen.
The Duke is fine, the bell gown, will ask you all the tea. But I'm in rags and I'm in tags, you'll never call me.
He's a old one, Rags is making songs about the Duke.
The dog blew up, the Duke is fine to kids. He likes to tear their ribbons out and use them for mitts. Ooh!
The revelers went silent in awe and wonder, for the townspeople knew the Duke had slain 11 men just for staring at his hands, hands that were gloved in velvet and shine with rubies and with diamonds. Fearing to be seen in the doomed and desperate company of the mad minstrel, the revelers toddled home to tell their wives. I see you shining in the lists. Toddling knights in battle. Breaking men in two like crackers. Tell me, are you Tristram's son? Or Lancelot, or Tyne, or Tora?
A wandering minstrel, I think of shreds and zatches.
Well, even if you were the mighty Zorn and Zorna, you can never escape the fury of the Duke. He will cut you from your goggle to your zatch, from here to here.
Now I know what they are.
The cold Duke's spider chief, a man named Whisper. Tomorrow he will die. He will die because to mention his sins he will have to mention mittens. I leave not for distant lands, for I have mentioned mittens. He will never live to wed his niece. He will only die to feed his geese. Goodbye. Good night. And sorry.
Yet you have nothing better than your songs. You are somewhat less than much, and only a little more than anything.
I manage in my fashion.
Hark, hark, the dog blew by, the ravens are going to bed. Somewhere I see the sun, but Whisper will be dead. Who are you?
I am the Golux, the only Golux in the world, and not a mere device.
You resemble one, as Saralinda resembles the rose.
Oh, I only resemble half the things I say I don't. But I must always be on hand when people are in peril.
My peril is my own.
Oh, half of it is yours, and half of it is Saralinda's.
I hadn't thought of that. I place my faith in you. Where you lead, I will follow.
Not so fast. Half the places I've been to never were. I make things up. Half the things I say are there can't be found. In my youth, I told a tale of buried gold. And men came from leagues around to dig in the woods. I even dug myself.
But why?
I thought the tale of treasure might be true.
You said you made it up.
I forget things. I make mistakes, but I am on the side of good, by accident or happen chance. I had high hopes of being evil when I was 2. But in my youth I came upon a firefly burning in a spider's web, and I saved the victim's life.
The firefly?
The spider! The blinking arsonist that set the web on fire! The Duke has heard your songs. The fat is in the fire. The jig is up. The die is cast. The goose is cooked. And and the cat is out of the bag. My hour has struck. The Duke prepares to feed you to his geese. We must invent a tale to stay his hand. A tale that would convince him that by slaying you would light a light in someone else's heart. He hates a light in people's hearts. So you must say that a certain prince and princess cannot be wed until the evening of the second day after he has fed you to his geese.
I wish you would stop saying that.
Oh, the tale sounds true. And very much like a witch's spell, the Duke has all witch's spells. I'm certain he'll stay his hand. I think.
Halt!
Do not arrest my friend.
But friend,
Maybe he's seen the Golux.
there is no Golux. I have been to school. I know. You, Fogelson, the rest of that line. No, move it along.
As if he were watching flowers in bloom or flying birds. He was watching his varlets feeding whisper to the geese. He turned away and took 3 limps and stared at the minstrel, standing in the great hall of the castle, both hands bound behind him.
What manner of prince is this you speak of? What manner of maiden does he love? To use a word that makes no sense and has no point.
A noble prince and a noble lady. When they are wed, 1,000,000 people will be glad.
We shall think of some amusing task for you to do. I do not like your tricks and guile. I think there is no prince or maiden who should wed if I should slay you. But I am neither sure nor certain. We shall think of some amusing task for you to do. Guards! Take him to the dungeon. Feed him water without bread, and bread without water. This thing of rags and tags and tatters will play our little game.
I wish him well.
Come to the dungeon. You'll find the most amusing bats and spiders there.
I wish him well.
How came you here?
Can you leave?
I don't remember. Never mind. Light a lighter, strike a lantern. Something I have hold of is no head.
The task. You came to tell me?
I did? Oh, yes. My father lacked the power of concentration, which is bad for monks and worse for wizards. Listen. You must tell the Duke that you will hunt the boar, or travel twice around the moon, or turn November into June. But implore him not to send you out to find 1,000 jewels.
And then?
He'll send you out to find 1,000 jewels.
I'm poor.
Come. You're Zorn of Zorn. I had it from a traveler I met as he was leaving town. Your father's casks and coppers shine with rubies and sapphires.
But my father lives in Zorn. It would take me 3 and 30 days to go. 9 and 90 altogether. 3 and 30 days to go, 3 and 30 days to come back here.
Well, that's 6 and 60.
It always takes my father 3 and 30 days to make decisions. In spells and labors, a certain time is always set, and I might be at sea when mine expires.
Oh, that's another problem for another day. Time is for dragonflies and angels. The former live too little, and the latter live too long.
The task seems strange and simple.
There are no jewels within ranges or reaches of desire, except for those here in the castle. The Duke knows not that you are Zorn of Zorna. He believes you to be a minstrel without a penny or a moonstone. The Duke is fond of jewels. You've seen them on his gloves.
The Duke has spies who may know who I am.
Oh, I may be wrong, but we must risk and try it.
I wish you could be sure.
I wish I could. I've saved a score of princes in my time, but I cannot save them all.
The Duke might only give me 30 days, or 42 to find 1,000 jewels. Why should he give me 99?
Well, the way I figure it is, the longer the labor lasts, the longer lasts his gloating. He loves to gloat, you know. Anyway, I have more plans than one. Right now, I have to sleep.
When will I see you again?
The Duke commands your presence. What was that?
What was that?
I know not. I thought I heard laughing.
Is the Duke afraid of laughter?
The Duke is afraid of nothing. Not even the total.
The total?
Oh, the total.
What's the total?
The total looks like a blob of glup. It makes a sound like rabbits screaming. It smells of old, unopened rooms. The total is waiting for the Duke to fail at some endeavor, such as setting you a task that you can do.
And if he sets me one and I succeed?
The blob will glup him. It is an agent of the devil sent to punish evildoers for having done less evil than they should. But come along here. The Duke is waiting for you. Come along. Oh. Come along.
Room, lighted by flaming torches that threw red gleams on shields and lances. The Duke's gloves sparkled when he moved his hands. He stared moodily through his monocle at young Prince Zorn.
So, you would hunt the boar, or travel thrice around the moon, or turn November into June. Saralinda, in November, turns November into June. A cow can travel thrice around the moon, or even more. And anyone can merely hunt the boar. No, I have other plans for you. I thought it up myself last night while I was killing mice. I will send you out to find 1,000 jewels and bring them here.
A wandering minstrel, a thing of
Rubies and sapphires. For you are Zorn of Zorna. Your father's casks and coffers shine with rubies and jewels. In 60 days, you can sail to Zorna and return.
It always takes my father 30 days to make decisions.
That is what I wanted to know, my naive prince. Then you would have me give you 90 days.
That would be fair. But how do you know that I am Zorn?
This is Hark, my spy. She found your princely raiment in your quarters in town with certain signs and seals and signatures revealing who you are. Go put it on. You'll find it in a chamber on whose door a star is turning black. Your sword is sealed, so think not of drawing it. I'll think of beetles while you're gone, and things like that.
So you're not giving me 90 days, then how many?
I'll think of a lovely number. Go on.
No one there.
Listen is invisible. Listen can be heard but never seen. They are here to learn the mark and measure of your task. I give you 90 hours, not 90 days, to find 1,000 jewels and bring them here. Also, when you return, the clocks must all be striking 5.
The clocks here in the castle. The 13 clocks.
Clocks here in the castle. The 13 clocks.
But the hands are frozen. The clocks are dead.
Precisely. What is more, which makes your task a charming one. There are no jewels that can be found in the space of 90 hours, except for those in my vaults and these.
A pretty task, indeed.
I thought you'd like it.
And if I should succeed?
I wish you well.
I hired a witch to cast a tiny spell upon her. When she is in my presence, all she can say is this: I wish you well. You like it?
A clever spell. An awful spell.
Go.
And if I fail?
I'll slit you from your guggle to your zatch and feed you to your total.
I've heard of it.
You've only heard half of it. The other half is worse. It's made of lip. It feels as if it's been dead at least a dozen days. But it moves about like monkeys and like shadows. Also, the total can't be killed. It gleeps.
What's gleep?
Time is wasting, Prince. Already you have only 90 hours. I wish you every strangest kind of luck. Oh, one last word in warning. Do not trust the Golux over far. He cannot tell what can be from what can't. He seldom knows what should be from what is.
The clocks are striking 5.
Mr. Golux, the only good looks in the world.
You are not so remarkable as I thought you were. Even your indescribable hat is suddenly describable. Also, the Duke thinks you are not so wise as he thinks you think you are.
I think he is not as wise as he thinks I think he is. I was there. I know the terms. I has thought that only dragonflies and angels think of time. Never having been a dragonfly or an angel.
How were you there?
I am listening. Or at any rate, the Duke thinks I am. Never trust a spy you cannot see. The Duke is lamer than I am old, and I am shorter than he is cold. When it comes to you, it's some surprise that I am wiser than he is wise.
I think you are the most remarkable man in the world. Come, you said you had more plan than one to find 1,000 gems.
What plans?
Didn't you say that you had...
Oh, yes! There was a treasure ship that sank, not more than 40 hours from here. But, come to think of it, the Duke ransacked the ship and stole the jewels.
So much for that.
If there were hail, we could stain the hail with blood, and perhaps it turned into rubies.
There is no hail.
Well, so much for that.
The task is hard and can't be done.
I can do a score of things that can't be done. I can find a thing that can't be seen, and see a thing that can't be found. The first is time. The second is a spot before my eyes. I can touch a thing I cannot feel and feel a thing I cannot touch. The first is a spot before my eyes. The second is your heart. Now, tell me, what would you do without me? Say nothing.
Nothing.
Good. Then you are helpless, and I'll help you. I said I had other plans than one, and I have just remembered what it is. There would be a woman on this isle who would have 80 years, and she possesses the strangest gift of all. For when she weeps, what do you think she weeps?
Tears.
Jewels.
That is too remarkable to be. Where does this wondrous woman dwell?
Over mountain and under stream, through storm and thunder, in a hut so high or deep, I can never remember which. The naked eye can't see it. It'll take us 90 hours to go and come, so we best be on our way. Is it this way or that way? Make up my mind.
How can I?
Well, you got a rose, hold it in your hand. This way. Meanwhile, I will tell you the tale of Hagga.
And this is what the Golux told Prince Zorn. When Hagga was 11 and picking cherries in the woods one day, and asphodel, she came upon the good King Gavain of Yarrow with his foot caught in a wolf trap. "Weep for me, maiden," said the king, "for I am ludicrous and laughable with my foot caught in this trap. I am no longer heir, for I have lost my heirship. By twiddling my fingers or clapping my hands, I have often changed the fate of men, but now I cannot get my foot loose from this thing." "I have no time for tears," the maiden said. She knew the secret of the trap, and was about to free the fettered foot, when a farmer from a nearby farm began to laugh. Well, the king beshrewed him and his wife, and turned them into grasshoppers, creatures that look as if their feet were caught in traps, even when they aren't. "Lo, the maid has freed my foot," the king exulted, seeing that she had. "But it is numb, and feel like someone else's foot, not mine." The maiden took off his shoe and rubbed his foot until it felt like his and he could put it down. And for her kindness, the grateful king gave her the power to weep jewels when she wept, instead of tears. When the people learned of the strange gift the king had given Hagga, they came from leagues around by night and day in warm and winter weather to make her sad and sorry. Nothing tragic happened, but she heard of it and wept. People came with heavy hearts and left with pearls and rubies. Paths were paved with pearls, and rivers ran with rubies. Children played with sapphires in the streets, and dogs chewed opals. Every peacock had at least 9 diamonds in its gizzard, and one, cut open on St. Wisto's Day, had 38. The price of stones and pebbles rose. The price of gems declined, until by making Hagga weep you could be hanged and fined. In the end, the jewels were melted in a frightful fire by order of the king. "I will make her weep myself one day each year," the king decreed, "and thus and hence the flow of gems will make some sense and have some point and balance." But alas and but alack, the maid could weep no more at any tale of tragedy or tribulation. Damsels killed by dragons left her cold, and broken hearts, and children lost and love denied. She never wept by day or night, in warm or winter weather.
She grew to be 16 and 26 and 34. And now at 88, she waits for me and you.
I hope this is true. I make things up, you know.
I know you do. If Hagga weeps no more, why should she weep for you?
Well, I feel she's frail and fragile. I trust she's sad and sorry. I hope she's neither dead nor dying. I think of something very sad to tell her. Very sad and lonely. Mind the roads, I think we're lost.
The only light in the forest came from lightning, and when it flashed, they watched the roads and followed where it pointed. This brought them on the second day into a valley. They'd become tangled in brambles by now, and the trees were tall and thick. Thorns tore at the prince's raiment. All paths vanished.
heart is high and getting higher. I wish you luck. There is none.
The brambles and the thorns grew thick and thicker in a ticking thicket of bickering crickets. Farther along and stronger, formed the gongs of a throng of frogs, green and vivid on their lily pads. From the sky came the crying of flies, and the pilgrims leaped over a bleating sheep, creeping knee-deep in a sleepy stream, in which swift and slippery snakes slid and slithered silkily, whispering sinful secrets.
How many hours do we have left?
If we can make her weep within the hour, we'll barely make it.
Oh, I hope she is alive and sad.
Oh, I feel she's dying. I feel it in my stomach. You best carry me. I'm weary. There's no light in the window. It's dark and getting darker.
There's no smoke in her chimney. It's cold. And getting colder.
Oh, what worries me the most is the spider's web, stretching from the hinges to the latch. Well, go on, knock on the door. Well, knock again. But weep for us, or else this prince will never wed his princess.
I have no tears. Once I wept when ships were overdue, or brooks ran dry, or tangerines were overripe, or she got something in their eye. I weep no more. I had turned 1,000 persons gemless from my door. Come in. I weep no more.
Well, I have tales to make a hangman weep, and tales to bring a tear to a monster's eye. I have tales to disturb a dragon's sleep, and even make the toad sigh.
Once I wept when maids were married, underneath the April moon. I weep no more when maids are buried, even in the month of June.
When you have the emotions of a fish,
I have no tears.
Look, listen. Princess Saralinda will never wed this youth until the day he places 1,000 jewels upon a certain table.
I would weep for Saralinda if I were able. These are the jewels of laughter. I woke up 14 days ago to find them on my bed. I had laughed until I wept at something in my sleep. Put them back. But there is a thing that you must know concerning jewels of laughter. They always turn again to tears a fortnight after. It has been a fortnight to the day and minute since I brought the frieze to this chest and placed them in it.
Even as they watched the light and color died, the diamonds dimmed, the emeralds went out, and the jewels of Hagga's laughter turned to tears with a little sound like sighing. There was nothing in the chest but limpid liquid leering up at them and winking.
must think. You must think about what you laughed at in your sleep.
I do not know, for that was 14 days ago.
But think!
I never can remember dreams.
As I remember and recall, the tears of sorrow last forever. Such was the power and the gift the good Gavain gave you. I am a man of logic in my way. What happened on that awful day to make him value sorrow over and above the gift of laughter? Why have these tears turned to jewels a fortnight after?
There was a farmer from the nearby farm who laughed. King Gavain said, on second thought, I will amend the gift I gave you. The jewels of sorrow will last beyond all measure, but may the tears of laughter grant you little pleasure.
Oh, if there's one thing in the world I hate, it's amendments. I make her laugh until she weeps.
I laugh at nothing that has been or is.
Well, then we'll think of things that never were, aren't now, or will be. I'll think of something. A decoy who is terribly hollow, cast only stones that were cowed, and bats that were dinged from a shot that was slinged, but missed all the turkeys that gobbled. Oh, she's looking semi-precious stones. There was an old coddle so wally who talked in a glove that was poly. His gauze became goo and his laugh became goo, and he only ate pops that were lolly. Rhinestones, necessarily because no jewelry.
A slew of fine lockpicks bequeath in a will of a wispy old thief to a colleague unnamed, went completely unclaimed, for that party lay under a wreath.
Pearls? The Duke hates pearls. He thinks they're made by fish.
And out of season, Hagga laughed and kept on laughing. No one had said a word, no one had told a tale. It might have been the hooting of an owl, it might have been the crawling of a snail. But Hagga laughed and kept on laughing, and precious jewels twinkled down her cheek and sparkled on the floor, until the hut was ankle deep in diamonds and in rubies.
I wish she'd laughed at something I had said.
Maybe warm in winter and cool in summer.
And farewell, and thank you.
How many hours are left us now?
It's odd. I could have sworn that she died. It's the only time my stomach ever lied.
How many hours are left us now?
I would say barely 40, but it is downhill all the way.
What about the clocks?
Oh, that's another problem for another hour.
How goes the night?
The moon is down. I have not heard the clocks.
You'll never hear them. I slew time many a cold and snowy year ago.
Time froze here. Someone left the windows open.
Ah! It bled hours and minutes upon the floor. I saw it with my eye. There are no jewels. They'll have to bring me pebbles from the sea or mica from the meadows. How goes the night?
I've been counting off and on, and I should say they have some 40 minutes left.
They'll never make it. I hope they drowned or broke their legs or lost their way. Where were they going?
Well, I met a Jackadandy some 7 hours ago. I met them on their way to Hagga's Hill. Do you remember Hagga? And have you thought of her?
Hagga weeps no more. Hagga has no tears. Hagga didn't even weep when she was told about the children locked in my tower.
I hated that.
Well, I liked it. No child can sleep in my flower gardens. Where's Listen?
Oh, he followed them, the Golux and the Prince.
Ah, I do not trust him. They have spies about me that are visible. Listen! Listen! I'm cold.
You always are.
I'm colder. Never tell me what I always am. I miss Whisper.
You fed him to the geese.
Silence!
They seemed to like him.
What was that?
What did it sound like?
But princes stealing upstairs, like Saralinda leaving. What does he feel like? Have you felt him?
Listen? Oh, he's 6 feet tall, has a beard, and something on his head I can't describe.
The Golux! You felt the Golux! I hired him as a spy and didn't know it. No matter, no matter. He knows not what is dead from what is dying, or where he's been from where he's going, or striking clocks from clocks that never strike.
What makes me think he does?
What is that?
I don't know what it is, but it's the only one that ever was.
I'll throw them up for grabs betwixt the turtle and the geese. No, I'll lock them in the dungeon with the thing without a head. I'll slay them all, the sweetheart and her suitor, this cross-eyed clown. You hear me?
Yes, but there are rules and rites and rituals older than the sound of bells and snow on the mountains.
Go on.
You must let them have their time and turn to make the castle clock strike 5.
Castle clocks were murdered. I killed time. Myself on a cold and snowy morning. Look, look, you can still see the old brown stains where seconds bled to death. What else?
You know as well as I that the prince must be given his turn in time to lay 1,000 jewels here on the table.
If he does, he'll leave hand in hand with Saralinda, the only warm hand in the castle. Who loses Saralinda loses fire. I mean the fire of setting suns, and not the cold and cheerless flame of jewels. Her eyes are candles burning in a shrine.
That's scarcely the way to speak of one's own niece.
She is not my niece. I stole her from the castle of a king. I snatched her from the bosom of a sleeping queen. I knew I had to have that splendor in my castle. I mean to keep her here till she is 21. The day she is, I'll wed her. And that day is tomorrow.
Why haven't you done so before?
Because her nurse turned out to be a witch who cast a spell upon me. I cannot wed her till she is 21. I must keep her in a chamber where she is safe from me. I must grant any prince the chance to seek her hand in marriage.
In spells such as these, one always finds a chink or a loophole by which the right and perfect prince can succeed in spite of any task you set for him. How did the witch announce that part of it?
Like this. She can be saved and you destroyed only by a prince whose name begins with X and doesn't. There is no prince whose name begins with X and doesn't.
This prince is Zorn of Zorna, who, much to your terror and distaste, once posed as a minstrel. His name was Xingu then, and wasn't. This is the prince whose name begins with X and doesn't.
What impudence is this? There's someone up there. It's the children!
The children are all dead, and the sound I heard was made by living feet.
How much time is left them?
A half hour, I think.
I'll have their goggles on my sword for playing games with me. Come on! The game is foot! They're all up there. I'll slay the Golux and the prince and marry Saralinda. Follow me.
How could you find the castle in the dark without light rose? He would not let us bring a torch.
You lighted up your window like a star, and we could see the castle from afar. Our time is marked in minutes. Start the first clock.
How can I start the clocks?
Well, your hands are warmer than snow is cold. Touch the first clock. Again. Rude.
Use magic.
I have no magic to depend on. Try another clock.
Use logic then.
Oh, well, if you can touch clocks and never start them, then you can start clocks and never touch them. That's logic as I know and use it. Hold your hand this close. No further back. Little further. Right there. Hold it. Don't move. I think you got it. This way.
I hear the sounds of time.
That was then. This is now.
Come out, you crooning knave! Stand forward, Zorn of Zorna! I'll slay you myself! I slew time and wiped my bloody blade upon its beard. And time is far greater than Zorn of Zorna.
No mortal man can slay time. And even if he could, there's something else. The clockwork on a
a maiden's heart that strikes the hours of love and youth.
You sicken me with your chocolate chatter. Your tongue is made of candy. Look! Look at the old brown stains where seconds bled to death. I slew time and wiped my bloody...
Oh, shut up! You are the most aggressive villain in the whole world. I always wanted to tell you that. I've said it, and I'm glad. The jig is up. Let's go find them. One,
2,
3,
4, 5. The task is done. The terms are met.
They must be false. They're colored pebbles.
The task is done. The terms are met.
Not until I finish counting them. If there be but one that isn't here, I wed the princess on the morrow.
What a gruesome way to treat one's niece.
She is not my niece. I stole her from a king. We all have flaws. Mine is being wicked.
Who is my father, then?
Your father, I believe, must be the good Gavain of Yarrow. And the gift and power that he gave to Hagga has in the end operated to make you happy.
This tale is much too tidy for my taste. I hate it.
It's neat, and to my taste, refreshing. If I may introduce myself, I, too, am a servant of the good King Gavain of Yarrow.
I cannot even trust spies that I see. You, mere device. You, platitude. You, Golux ex machina.
Quiet, please, you gleaming thief.
998. $999. The princess belongs to me.
1,000? It fell out on the way back and I forgot about it.
What are you waiting for? Depart! If you be gone forever, it will not be long enough. If you come again no more, it will be too soon. Go! My jewels will last forever.
Yarrow is halfway on our journey.
Hurry, your ship lies in the harbor and sails within the hour. Oh, it sails at midnight. Well, I can't remember everything. My father's clocks were always slow. Right close together. Remember laughter. You'll need it, even in the blessed isles of ever after.
You sail with us to Yarrow?
Oh, I must stay a fortnight longer. It will give me time to tidy up.
Where is the Golux gone?
Oh, he knows of many places.
Give him my love and this.
A fortnight later, the Duke was gloating over his jewels in the oak room when they suddenly turned to tears with a little sound like sighing. The fringes of his gloves were now stained with Hagga's laughter.
Whisper! may frighten octopi to death. You give us spawn of hate and thunder, but not the Duke of Coffin Castle. Now that my precious gems have turned to flop, living on alone and cold is not my fondest wish. On guard, you musty sofa!
Fair wind stands for Yarrow. I have heard that Princess Saralinda saw, as people often see on clear and windless days, the shining shores of ever after. Your guess is as good as mine. There are lots of things to shine. But at least I believe she saw that, and I always will.